Well, hey, welcome to Hey Heather, What About? The Exquisite House Pilates and Wellness podcast, where we talk about all things movement, mindset, midlife with honesty, curiosity, and just a little bit of irreverence. Today is a special episode in honor of World Menopause Day. And if you're a Gen X woman like me, you know we're not doing menopause the way our mothers did. We're talking about it, we're researching it, we're investing in ourselves, and we're done whispering. Menopause isn't just a collection of hot flashes or hormone shifts. It's a whole body transformation that affects metabolism, sleep, mental health, muscle mass, skin, sexual health, and yes, our identity. What's really going on in the body? So let's set the stage with a little science. During menopause, the transition of it, estrogen and progesterone levels decline, as well as testosterone. We'll get into that in a minute. And those hormones, estrogen and progesterone, they influence us everywhere. They impact every function in our body. What you may feel in menopause is that your energy and cravings change, your ability to build muscle changes, your sleep, hello 2 a.m. wake up, what the heck is that? Your mood, memory, motivation, your skin, joints, and yes, even the pelvic floor, unfortunately. The symptoms are real, but so is your power to support your body differently in this chapter. As a Gen X woman, we're showing up differently. We're not accepting invisibility. We're not buying into the shame. We're certainly not shrinking ourselves to fit in anyone's outdated narrative. We are prioritizing our health. We are demanding better care. And we are writing our own rules for what this season can look like, feel like, stronger, wiser, and more aligned than ever before. So, you know that we've been talking about these amazing experts, and I want you to meet some of them. I've invited 3 amazing women to join me today to share their insight and wisdom. We have right now Ms. Karen Graves. She is that black girl on the TikTok. If you don't know her, you need to find her because she is all that. But Karen is a business coach. She's my business coach. And she is going to talk with us about the reinvention and repurposing of ourselves in midlife. And a lot of times this happens during menopause. We're also going to hear from Dr. Erin Adams. Dr. Erin Adams is a dermatologist with a passion for women's health and aging well. We're also going to hear from an amazing therapist, Trisha Maza, and she's going to help us understand the emotional terrain of menopause. And finally, I will be sharing from my own perspective the fitness and functional nutrition aspect of how we move, how we nourish, and what our mindset looks like that can support us during this better phase of our lives. So we're not just going to get through, we're going to thrive. I have some core questions, and first and foremost, I want Karen to share a little bit about herself and her business and what that looks like. So Karen, thank you for being here today, and tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And first of all, I'm honored to be your business coach, as we're known around the studio. And what I've been doing for many years, I've been in coaching for almost 20 years now. It's hard to say that, but I'm a Gen X woman, so it's also cool to say that. And what I do is I help really smart people who've decided that they want to step into the coaching space. They want to step into the consulting place. The people who help people, I help them help their businesses grow. I help them make more money. I help them figure out the infrastructure that keeps their business solid and thriving, and so that they stop stressing, trying to survive, and they're falling apart, so they have a solid foundation to grow from, to thrive from, and scale from. And so that they build businesses that are satisfying what they desire and want most in their lives, rather than having a business that tells them what to do. Because so many people are stressed and struggling and just frantic over their businesses. But when you build it with the goal in mind of, this is my lifestyle business, this is going to support my life and give back to me my life, then it makes all the difference in the world. So that's what I do.
I love that. I love it, love it, love it.
Thank
So,
you.
specific questions for you. We're going to go through those and then we're going to go through the core questions. I have core questions that I'm asking everybody, and we're going to do those kind of at the end. But I wanted Karen to speak with us today because I wanted her to talk about what it looks like for women of our generation and a little bit younger and a little bit older, and how many women in this section, why can I not talk? In this sector are actually going into entrepreneurship. It's there's like a phenomenal statistic about how many people, women our age, are like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to work for anybody else. I'm going into this for myself. So can you speak a little bit into that?
Yes. So before, I want to say that there's to me, there's always been this natural gravitation that when people get to a certain space and age in their lives, especially if they've had long careers in certain industries, like they our generation definitely did our parents told us get a good job, get some pension, we were really good followers and listeners to that. Like we didn't think we had a lot
Yeah.
of choices. So we did. And then we had these, decades long careers in this one space, and then find out like, wait a minute, there was more to life. Like now that I've done that, I paid my bills, I paid my dues, I should say. I want to I want to do something different. So I think that it's a natural occurrence. However, during the pandemic, I think that's when we saw the bigger surge. That when we allowed, everybody had to come home, sit in the house until COVID told us it was okay to go back outside, right? Like we were almost sitting in the naughty corner for the whole time. But I think in that, there was a lot of discovery that happened. And, people were realizing they were giving all their energy and their time and their mental health, everything to these jobs, but they were missing out on the beauty of their lives. So when they were back at home and they're realizing, well, wait, I can work from my home, still get my work done and be productive, but then also, I don't know, shop at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like out of for no reason, not like, oh, I have to run out on my lunch break and go get it. It was like I can actually take a leisurely stroll to the store and go out and eat. It started igniting a lot of ideas. And then if you sat down long enough to look across the internet, across the interwebs, you would see how many people were actually creating their own types of businesses. And so the number, I don't know the exact number, but I want to say it was like over 50% of women who started having these awakenings just from the pandemic created this whole exodus. And it was actually a Gen X was a big thing. It was like the Gen Exodus. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people just said, you know what, that's it. I'm done with this, long-term job industry, what have you. I'm making a change. And so for me, coaching and consulting took a huge boom. There was a lot of people who stepped into that. Real estate people stepped into real estate. A lot of the online things, which are a little bit more risky, but there was a lot of spaces that just started naturally growing. And so a lot more independent business owners. And for women, I think it was that big wake up of I don't have to do it the way I've been told I had to do it this time. And now I'm willing to step out and see what I have going on. And there's a nod to that. Gen X women, I want you to hear me now. And a little younger and a little older, the wisdom that you have is ripe for your own business. So if that's had ever been a thought process, then you're in the right space.
Yeah. Yeah. What unique strengths do women over 40 bring to business and that the world has possibly underestimated them about?
Well, I think, they underestimate the power of women anyway, right? So, I mean, that's just in general. But a woman over 40, she's seen some things, she's done some things. Her communication skills, the things that she's had to negotiate, navigate, just in any environment, it's always, women aren't as expected to be as smart and as or as
So true.
capable. And so you have to voice how smart you are and how capable you are. They underestimate a woman's ability to now. let me just say this with a little caveat. Most of my clients do not like to market and do not like to sell, which are business aspects. However, have the ability to naturally market and sell better than
Right.
men now. I used to do sales training for many years. I was a sales trainer, and I will tell you that it's just some of the natural ways of being. When we're enthusiastic about sharing something good, everybody's going to know about it. When we, want to tell somebody about, oh, you got to go try this restaurant. Oh my gosh, you will be sitting at that restaurant before you even know why you're sitting at the restaurant, just because the woman was so excited to tell you about it. And so those are just some of the natural skills they have, but then also the resilient skills, just being that person who's had to hold up, whether if you're parenting, whether you're caretaking, whether, you're juggling, nine different responsibilities, managing a team, managing others. There are so many things that women bring to the table. And, you're right at that stage of becoming in that space of like, wow, I know a lot of stuff. I really do. And there's a lot of things that I've done. And so I think that that's the brilliance that it makes it a natural stepping stone.
Yeah, I love that. How do you help women overcome the self-doubt or the imposter syndrome that can come up in midlife pivots? So before you answer that,
I was gonna say, why don't you tell them?
oh my gosh, it's so true. The I will say this. I already have the answer to this question because Karen is a very kind, loving woman, but she is also like nail you to the wall, like, girl, why are you even thinking like that? What is wrong with you? And I will say that there's a unique talent that Karen has to help people see their potential, but not from someone else's eyes, but from our own eyes. And I think that that is a very unique aspect to your coaching ability. So talk about a little bit about that method because I know I've already built my house.
It really is reminding somebody of who they are. First of all, we all have some gifts that we bring to the table. And what I fight against is people forgetting the value of those gifts, the value of just naturally being you, not the things that somebody put on you, but what you brought to the table. Like you came into this world with some purpose that was going to bring you somewhere, so you hone those gifts alongside of that. So it's reminding of like, how many hours have you studied to know the things that you know? How many times have you fallen down and stood up based on like what you're passionate about? How many times have you like had to figure out challenges that nobody else could seemingly figure out? There is this whole catalog of just wonderful things that you've done in your life that the biggest challenge we have is we have to break through the humility barrier,
Yeah.
right? Oh no, this everybody does that, don't they? And it's like, no, not everybody does that. Like I will take you for an example, right? Like
Right.
you are like a running dictionary on all things wellness, health, menopause, all this beautiful Pilates, and you just say it like it's just, oh, I'm just talking about the weather. And meanwhile, a person sitting there gobsmacked, like, what did she just say? It's so akin to breathing for you that it's
Yeah.
very difficult to really step outside of yourself and say, like, oh, wow, that was amazing. And so and it's not just a you thing, this is universal. This is
Yeah.
every single client I've ever worked with, myself included. Like I had when I started my business, I always try to bring it back to the sales and marketing because to me that's the true testament of how comfortable you are with yourself. Like we have to get to that place of being comfortable with promoting ourselves and
Yeah.
selling our own stuff. And when I first started, here I was with a formal sales training background, right? And the company that I work for was rated number one in the world for their sales training, their learning
Wow.
development. So you would think when I came out, that would be the easiest part. No, there's a difference when you're selling something else and then you have to sell your own stuff. And I struggled with that. And it wasn't until I got coaching and somebody was like, well, tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've accomplished and that you've done. And I was just like, oh, da 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 da. And I'm saying it like, oh, I might have trained, I don't know, 7,000 people in sales. I don't know. I might have sold, I don't know, millions of dollars. And they're just like, wait, whoa, 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 back that up a little bit. Like you've done what? And so it's this, I think we also have a tendency, especially women, middle age, that we're used to being the doers, the
Yeah.
worker bees, getting things done. We're not so comfortable shouting it from the rooftops because we've also are in a system that's told us like it's not okay for you. You've got to be humble. You can't brag,
Right.
and so a lot of that is we have to deal with the programming that we've had growing up, right? We're raised in environments that give us all these messages about who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to act, when we're supposed to do things. And so part of that is like breaking all the chains from the programs that don't work. The
Yeah.
things that they kept you safe when you were a child, maybe even a young teenager or something, and young adult. But now that you're a grown blank woman, I don't know if I can say these things on your podcast. I don't want to
We're not
disrespect the
explicit.
podcast. Okay. Grown ass woman. That now they're not serving you anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They're keeping you small. They're keeping you shadowed. And so I help you bring those things to surface, the things that you want to feel proud of. And basically I help you find your badass. That's all we do.
I love that. What's one powerful, I mean, you sort of answered this, but I want you to speak in it a little bit more. What's one powerful mind shift you encourage in your clients navigating business growth during menopause? So, uniquely, you do work with a lot of menopausal women or women
Oh
that
my
are of
gosh.
our generation. So, what's the
Yes.
thing that, like, you help them? Part of that is what we just talked about, but there's
Yeah.
more to that. There's a little more to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's creating the new rules that you want for your life, right? Instead of we start with the end in mind. It's like you've gotten to a certain place in life that you should be able to have those things that you've worked so hard for. So what is it that you really want now? Like what are those how do you want to spend your time? How do you want to see your day? How do you want to deal with your clientele? Like what is this thing that we're creating? And then we look for the gap of like, okay, what are all the things that you feel are getting in the way? And once we start excavating that through that process, we find what the limiting beliefs are. We find out what some of the true obstacles are. There's some of the challenges that may need to be, we have to deal with. We find out, some of the secrets that, like, I don't want anybody to ever know about this, but your heart is screaming for, if I could just share this with somebody, so a lot of that is helping you find out, like, allowing you to be who you want to be at this big age. And what I love about the menopausal shift of it all, because I think your body's kind of working towards this anyway, is you are physically also having the breakdowns that kind of coincide with something. All this stuff has to break.
Yeah.
Like you're going through a physical, emotional, psychological break of all, like, when we were going through our periods, right? When
Yeah.
we were entering into this hormonal, I'm not going to call it a lovely place, but it's helped us do some things. But when we entered into this space, we changed from this young little girl to now this little teenager, and that changed our identity a bit.
Yeah.
Well, now isn't this a natural progression to grow to that next level of who we are? And so that's what we're doing is like, okay, now let's step into your next level self. So I really want women to kind of free themselves to be themselves.
Love that. I love that. So that goes naturally into our core questions. Why are you passionate about supporting women in midlife?
Because this is where, I mean, it is a bit of that. Now you're a grown woman. You've worked decades, decades. Most women have probably worked by this time like 30 to 40 years because you probably started like with a paper route or babysitting or something, and then it's like now at this point, you've given to everybody. You gave to your family, like whatever you were supposed to do, you followed the rules. Some of us bet more than others. Then you went on and you probably tried to please the people in your family, and you gave to whatever employment that looked like, right? Even if you were trying to find yourself, you probably were still staying a little close to the rules. And now, you've had children. You're probably taking care of elders, and all this stuff you've given, given, given,
Yeah.
given. Now it's for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this place, it's like like you're in the prime space to say, huh, okay, my turn. It's my turn. So I'm hoping I answered that question, guys. I get like
Yeah.
lost and I get so passionate about it, but I love this because I think it's also you have that awareness, like you know that there's something waiting for you. You know that this gets to be your next great chapter.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it too is like we aren't our moms and grandmoms. Like they were fabulous women, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but what we know about longevity and health and we're staying younger longer. Like the new Gen X, watch out 30 somethings, 20 somethings. Like but we're also at that have this thing like we don't really care about, keeping up with each other. We're just like I just want to live my best
Right.
life, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Um, what was the next question? Okay, so what are some of the most, sorry, what was the turning, this is it. What was the turning point or personal experience for you that inspired you to focus your work on women in this stage of life?
So it was a couple of experiences. The first experience was when I got laid off from my job.
Ooh.
And yeah, so and I was at that time I was early 40s. I think it was like in my early 40s and I had a new child. So I was a later mom. And at that stage, I was just like, always kind of had this thing like, I'm not really the employable type. Like I'm a, like I, I took a sales job because it came with a company car and a credit card. And I thought that was cool because I could just drive around all day. Like I'm not a four walls type of girl.
Yeah.
But at that point, I had also, I had started going through coaching certification. So it coincided, like just as I was getting laid off, my coaching certification, I had just graduated from my certification. And when I was getting coached, I was realizing how many people were in the same stage of life with me where they were, like they had their children, but they were at work all day and they were felt like they were giving themselves everywhere. And then at the end of the day, they're exhausted and they have no time for themselves. They have nothing left to give. And so I was inspired then. I was like, well, in my first iteration of my business, I was like, I'm going to help women leave their jobs and start businesses. And this is a little business tip. Only speak to those who really want to do, who feel that that's a problem. Like make sure that you're addressing the problem that people think they have. Because a lot of the first people I was talking to, they were like, why would I quit my job? Like I need the money. Like I didn't want to start a business today. Like it was just, so you have to know your target market. But but I quickly learned like the sales skills and the marketing skills are beneficial. So that's how we got here. Then the second time was in 2019. We had a rash of people who in our family and loved ones who died. It was like
Oh,
8 deaths or 7 deaths in 7 months.
oh God.
It was a tragic year. And we were like by
Ooh.
the end of 2019, I was brain dead. I was numb. Like I was just moving,
Yeah.
right? And then COVID came and I have an elderly mom and I'm like spending all of 2020 who had emphysema or COPD, who had spent all that time worrying about her exposure to COVID, da, 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 da. And then she had a stroke in 2022. And I became even more of a primary caretaker at that point and recognizing like if I had had a traditional job, I could not have that flexibility
Yeah.
to take care of what I needed to take care of.
Right.
And then I actually ended up taking a brief job because I was so exhausted I couldn't even function. And I was like, there's something fundamentally wrong here. Like this is not how life is supposed to be. And I started having these conversations with people my age and they we're having these shared choruses of
Yeah.
feeling like you're being sucked out of life and trying to find your space, like trying to find yourself in it.
Yeah.
And so that was what cemented I'm unemployable, by the way. Because I didn't stay there long. But then, so those two times were like it was like well, I'm going through this, and I keep
Yeah.
talking to people who are going through this. And so we've got to do something different, because if we keep losing ourselves and we break down, then what's left?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's left? Because if we're
Yeah.
always holding up the world on our shoulders and we're the ones holding it, when Atlas breaks, what happens?
Right. Right.
So that was my passion. Like, I know too many brilliant, brilliant women who are not living the dream that they want to live.
Wow. So, in your working with women in their 40s and 50s and beyond, what are some of the most surprising or eye-opening things that you've learned from them?
Um, like I said, like the humility, that humility is truly a consistent chorus,
Yeah.
that there's a lot of guilt and shame for things that are really, they don't have any reason to be guilty or shameful of. And that also self-trust is low. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. But again, it's a consistent, like, I'm just consistently seeing that oftentimes there's always this, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, if I had done, if I, and so there's all of that shoulding on themselves, and that coupled with, but that also is this reiteration of, I'm not trustworthy.
Right. Right.
And so you asked earlier, like, what's something that we work through? Like, there is a lot of that we work through, right?
Yeah.
Because it truly is, that keeps your income down. Like, it really, like, you cannot. Had a mentor who once said, like, you can't charge more than what you think you're worth. And if you are always shooting on yourself and you're treating yourself the way you are, then you're not really thinking that highly of yourself. So
Yeah.
why would you expect somebody else to? Right? You're going to put the onus on somebody else to make you feel better about you. And it's like, just start with you, feel better about yourself. And then it's easier to have conversations, because you're coming from a more confident place, and you're
Yeah.
coming from your highest self. So there's that, but I don't know if I was as surprised as I should be, because I think I've been watching this for a really, really long time. Because in sales training, it brings up people's feelings, but I didn't
Oh,
have the
yeah.
words for it. I didn't know that that's what I was looking at. I was like, I didn't know I was looking at guilt and shame. I didn't know that I was looking at, I knew I was looking at some self-worth things, but not the
Yeah.
self-trust.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just been an interesting and eye-opening things that women that I know can just do anything, how much they don't see themselves as brilliantly as most people see them.
It's so true. I was thinking about when you were talking about sales training and how that stuff comes up. There's so much of this place of like I think about one of the first sales trainings I went through, and I had to record myself doing a pitch, and I was like devastated because I was so nervous, and I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And the reality was, 6 months down the line, that whole script was wrote. It was not a big deal. I could put my own personal personality into it and feel confident. But because I'd had this place of like, this is so outside my comfort zone, I don't know that I know how to do this. I don't know how to trust myself. All of those things are where we live as women. We don't stay in the place of strength. We don't stay in a place of confidence, because if we're there, then we're body, or we're too brash, or we're
Mhm.
too assertive, and an assertive woman is an aggressive woman. Really?
Yeah,
Really? No,
yeah.
not really.
That's exactly what they tell us.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And that, and like it, and also being smart. Remember when we were kids, being smart. You didn't want to be the smart girl. You want to be the cute girl. And
Right.
if you were cute, that was more important than being smart.
Right.
So it was like, kind of be quiet and hold your smarts. Like, we had to even play dumb with guys, like, oh my gosh, you're so funny. And be
Yeah.
like, he doesn't even know what he's saying right now. So it was just, it's just, we're coming to this place where I'm recognizing all these things have to kind of be pulled away, It's the onion. We've talked many a times about the peeling away the onion layers, right? The
Yes.
layers till we get to that sweet core. That's what we have to do is start doing that, because that, and oh, and one last one, perfectionism.
Don't
Woo!
even get me started.
Woo! Perfectionism is a big one. So what
Oh,
we just shared
yeah.
are like those are the biggest gaps. So if you've ever been feeling like I should know this by now, or I should be better at what I'm doing, some of those things are not, you're not even conscious that they're running the show.
Right.
They're underneath the surface. And until you really go pulling them out, then you may not even know that they exist,
Yeah.
or to the degree that they exist.
And I think that what you're talking about so resonates with women in menopausal age, because we at that point, our life is such a cluster muck of what the heck just happened to me, that we can't be perfect anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I am the quintessential perfectionist. I'm one of those people who's like, my house is always done, my makeup's always done, my hair is always done, my clothes are always done, everything is done. And my life was a complete and utter shikaka show. I was like, what in
Mhm.
the world is going on? And when we started working together, there's such a freedom in saying, you know what? I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to have it all perfect. And and there is something about a ability to gain trust with people when you're vulnerable and say, I don't have it all together. I'm not
Yeah.
feeling myself today. I'm not feeling all of these things. And like, there's too many times that have occurred, and Karen takes Pilates from me, so don't get it twisted. She is all that in a bag of chips, and she can plank herself to oblivion.
Thank you. I've been working on
She is a
that.
she's a master Pilates enthusiast. Um, but I mean, there's so many times where we've been in the studio and you look at me and you're like, it's okay, just let it out. And I'm like, I'm not feeling this today. I don't enjoy being a small business owner today. I would like to not be here at this moment, but I love working with you guys. So we are here. We're going to do this workout.
Mhm.
And I think that having that freedom of, because I've gained this sense of self from hormone replacement therapy, thank you, Jesus, and
Mhm.
the therapy and the coaching, I do feel that sense of strength of being able to say, it's okay if I don't have it all together. It's okay if I'm not perfect. And when people bring that to my attention in a negative way, I'm like, thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
okay, great. I'm aware. I'm aware that I'm not perfect. I'm aware that I didn't handle you perfectly today, but it's okay. We're going to be all right. We're going to get through this.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, you've talked so much about some of the things that I had asked questions about, like specific skills and outdated beliefs. We've covered those things. There's so many things that are outdated about like meekness and our, as women, I think our generation was probably the first generation that was like, no. And we
Yes.
were the ones that came after, like, women were actually allowed to have a bank account. Women were actually allowed to
Yes.
have a credit card. Women were actually allowed to own property. And we're the generation that was like, I'm not doing menopause the way my nanny did and my mother has done it. And we have been able to look at um, some of the people that have gone before us who are much louder voices in the menopause space, and they've said, we don't have to live like that. We don't have to live like
Yes.
this, and we don't have to subscribe to the World Health or not, Women's Health Initiative that said, oh, this is all bad, you should never have it. Whereas the standard of care before 2002 was that everybody got hormones, everybody's happy. But then somebody decided, oh no, women don't need this and it's going to be all bad for them. Like, all of that, we are coming out of and living into the best half of our lives. And so that's the question, is what does that mean for you personally, living into that best half of your life?
So I will say thanks to this fabulous Pilates studio that I go to, Exquisite House. If you haven't heard about it, it's right here in Midlothian. Um, Definitely check it out. No, seriously though, I would say that Pilates was a saving grace for me. And that was, I found it at the end of like when I was going through
Yeah.
the COVID and all
Yeah.
of that. And I didn't realize how much it made a difference in my psyche, in my like in my body, my strength, like everything. Like to me, it was a head to toe
Yeah.
had to do. And because of it, I am in the best shape of my life.
Yes, you
Like
are.
thank you so much. I physically though, but I feel mentally the best shape of my life, physically the best shape of my life. And for me, living my best life means that, right? Living into a body that is healthy, going to stay healthy, a mind that I work on to keep healthy and stay healthy and
Yes.
continue to expand, and then pouring all of that into my life. And so the best part of my life really starts with me being my best self. And I pray, I have long genes in my family, so I'm kind of hoping that maintains. Like I have my great grandmother on my mother's side was 107 when she
Wow.
passed. My mom was 88 when she
Wow.
passed, so we have some long genes. And so and I had my mother's aunt was 101.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, the best part of my life is to be able to do what I'm doing right now for as long as I want to. So if I want to keep living like this for the next 20 years and then say, oh, I'll retire now, great. If I had say, I'm never really going to retire, I'm always going to have a little something going on, then that's great. But that means I'm always at choice and always feeling good in my body while doing whatever I'm doing.
I love
That's
that.
yeah.
I love that. So I mean, just kind of covers that that's how you take care of yourself while supporting other women.
Yeah. Because and I think that was the other thing is like, especially in the caretaking with my mom, I think I really started to see when I'm broken down how it impacts her.
Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, I had a teenage daughter who's navigating, relationships and going off to college. And so I had this,
You were in the
double.
sandwich.
Yes, yes, I was in the middle of the sandwich, and the sandwich was not a tasty sandwich at the time. And what I started recognizing is when I was good, they were good. When I wasn't good, nobody was good. Nothing changed about them. It was always about me, right? When you change everything, your perspective changes, everything changes.
Yeah.
And so I noticed when I really focus on getting better sleep and taking care of my health and, seeking therapy, getting coaching, all of those beautiful things, then I was more capable and I wasn't as snappy and I wasn't as, just doing things like this. I was slowing down, taking time, making better decisions and choices that would hold rather than break. And working with clients, I was able to give them high energy rather than dragging into a coaching call and just being like, okay, um, today we're gonna, and trying to bring it up
Yeah.
for my toes. Because that's not, I'm serving them in that manner. That's not going to work for anybody. So it really is about what I love about this, and this is going to be, it's a trigger word for people. So if this is a trigger word, I apologize in advance, but it is being selfish in all the best ways possible. It's because when you're selfish, you can become selfless, but it's not the other way around. When you're
Well, you're
selfless, you never have time to be selfish.
you're talking about putting you're talking about putting the oxygen mask on, and
Yes.
we can't, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't give to other people. We don't have that in us. I mean, people ask me all the time, they're like, well, what time do you go to bed? What time do you do this? What time do you do that? I have a whole 5 to 9, then I have a 9 to 5, and then I have another 5 to 9. So, and you know this, I mean, you're
Yep.
more intimately acquainted with my world. Um, but part of what I do is little rituals. Like I have breakfast with daddy. I listen to a podcast on the way into work because I have a 20-minute drive in, and I do things that are going to feed my soul, but
Hmm.
also keep me in a mental space that give me the ability to give.
Hmm.
So, and I can tell when I'm
100%.
not there. Anybody who's in the studio knows if there's a diet Dr. Pepper, Heather's in a moment. She's having a moment.
But that's the other thing though, recognizing when you are having it and
Yeah.
allowing yourself whatever comfort that you need in that moment. Right. So but knowing like, okay, today's a diet Dr. Pepper day. That means that my day, that it still puts you in control of your day.
Yeah.
rather than I'm searching for a Diet Dr. Pepper because everything went down. So I think it's when you become conscious of those things that you can put in place for yourself. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier than just always being in reactive mode,
Yeah.
because
And
otherwise
that's,
we're always kind of just like waiting for something to come.
yeah. So that leads us to kind of the last question I have for you. If you could give one piece of advice to women navigating menopause right now, what would that be?
Address it. Address the symptoms. Whatever, if you are going through the sleeplessness, if you're going through the cravings, if you're going through the irritability, if you're going, do whatever, like if it's HRT, if your body can do it, go for HRT. If you need to lose weight and you need a little kickstart and GLP-1 is right for you, go for that GLP-1. Do whatever is going to make sure you're eating well, make sure that you're feeding yourself, fueling your body by getting sleep and get sunshine, get all the good things. Spoil yourself rotten in what your body is needing in the moment. And I'm going to say from a personal perspective, because I was going through, now this is again just sound bites from Heather. Y'all need to listen to this woman. Sound bites. I'm in the studio and she's just talking. I'm not even the one asking questions. I'm just hearing the highlight reels. And she's telling people about, like, well, you could do HRT and da 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 da. And, I'm just like, what's the HRT thing? She keeps mentioning it, and she gave me a book and I started reading the book. Um, about from Mary Claire Haver and like
Yeah.
getting more and I was just like, oh, so we don't have to do menopause the way I remember my mom just in her little personal summers and her
Yep.
irritability, and I was a
Yep.
teenager at that time, so we were definitely battling at that
Yep.
moment. And the weight gain, I remember the day she was
Yeah.
struggling to like zip up her pants. The minute I started struggling to zip up my pants and like found that little belly coming over, I was like, nope, see, nope, not the kid. And I was having night flashes,
Yep.
and I was waking up and I was
Oh,
definitely getting snappy. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should think about this whole HRT thing. So I found a menopausal specialist. I went to her. She put me on, and that was not even, that was like a few months ago. And then I another couple of sound bites from Heather about eating, like the way that you should eat. And I'm just gleaning, people. I'm gleaning. Now imagine working with her. I'm just gleaning. I not because I had gotten 10 pounds over like what I consider my anchor weight, like my best
yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
I was like 10, 12 pounds. I have lost the weight. I sleep well at night. I don't have any night flashes, or is that what hot flashes at night?
Hot flashes and
Night
night
sweat,
sweats. Those are a thing.
night
It doesn't
sweats.
matter.
Yeah,
They
I
both
don't
suck.
have both of them, either of them, and I'm not irritable. I am so even keel sometimes. I wonder if there's something. I'm like, should I be upset about this right now? Because I'm really even, like So it has changed my life, and I mentioned it to an older cousin who was like,
Oh yeah.
and she's already gone through, and she dragged through. And she's
Oh.
like, and she's like, aren't you scared? That one lone study that's still out there about
Mm.
it's bad for you and all that. And I was just like, look, if that's my fate, I'll figure that out. But I'm telling you what, this HRT has saved my life, so I'm going to do it. So I say all this to say, whatever your body is telling you something.
Yeah.
Your body's giving you clues. And I think we always get clues from our body when something is off. And when there are ways to handle that being off, handle it. Don't suffer. You do not have to suffer. And I think that if anything, the whole theme of this, you are at choice in your life. You don't have to suffer through life. You can create whatever type of life you really want to create. And it's just just do what you can to start creating the life that you really want, because it's well deserved. At this stage of life, it is so
Yeah.
well deserved. You've done so much already. Like, why not give back to yourself?
Yeah. I
So
love
yeah,
that. I
thank
love
you.
that. So, Karen, how can people, if they want to work with you, because obviously you're a super inspiring person, you continue to inspire me, how can they get a hold of you?
They can find, well, so I am on TikTok as that black girl, but I really don't spend time there yet because that content's coming soon. It's been an interesting time in our nation. So I'm trying to say things without anger. But until we get there, LinkedIn is the best place to catch me. So you can find me. I'm Karen Graves on LinkedIn, or you can also go, I have a website, karengravescoaching.com, or you can simply send me an email, Karen@karengravescoaching.com, and just say, hi, heard you on the podcast, would love to chat. And we'll take it from there.
Perfect. I love that. So, and your coaching, again, just to recap, is really about crystallizing people's business and how they're approaching that business, and then them understanding their position and where they can sell from authentically into whatever industry they're in.
Yep. And so ultimately, you are not only making more money in your business, but you're also creating a business that supports your lifestyle, whatever that may be.
I love that. Thank you for being here today.
Thank
I
you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
And this was fun. I so enjoy spending time and being on this side of the Zoom.
I know we're all like, Karen, I need to talk to you. I need to fix this. Yeah. So today this is all about you shining, because you are a very bright person, like effervescent, glowing, all of the things. And we need more of you and people like you in this world. So thank you. We are going to continue this conversation for World Menopause Day. So stay tuned for our next interview. Thank you for listening and asking the question, hey, Heather, what about? I hope we inspired you to create a lifestyle for longevity. You deserve it. If something sparked a shift for you today, don't keep it to yourself. Pass it to a friend. Leave us a review to help others find us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you never miss a moment of real talk and real transformation. Ready to start your wellness journey? Visit theexquisitehouse.com to join us in the studio or learn more about The Plan, our signature program for nutrition, movement, and midlife transformation. And remember, keep asking questions. I'll be here with answers.